Hey everyone, my name is Elaine and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another paranormal story time video. Today I'm going to be talking about a house that my dad used to live in. It is actually located, or it was located, in Northridge, California, which isn't too far from here. And so just to give you guys a little backstory, I'll try not to give too much details because it's going to end up being a long video. But basically my dad came to the US when it was he was in his, I'd say in his early 20s, and he came here in the late 60s. So him and his family, they came here and they had to establish themselves, so they were working and they ended up renting a house. Now the house that they lived in, it was one out of 5 houses on a property. The main house was where the homeowner lived, and then there were 4 other smaller houses. So I don't know about the other houses on the property, if they were haunted or not, but the one that my dad and his family had lived in was super haunted. And so he lived there with his brothers and his sisters, and I think his mom, but I don't think she lived there as long as my dad did. So I took some notes. Some of the things my dad said that would happen a lot is that they would see people, a person, from the corner of their eyes. Like he said, you would just be sitting down watching TV or whatever, and then you would see one just cross your vision. And that happened to everyone. It wasn't just my dad. It happened, something happened to everyone in that house. And I remember recently my uncle was telling me that one time he was laying down in bed and he was waiting for his wife to come to sleep with him. So he was laying down and then his eyes were closed and he felt what he thought was his wife coming to bed. He felt a body on the bed, crawling towards him and lay down next to him, and it was touching him. And so he fell asleep, and then the next morning he noticed that his wife wasn't there. So he got up, he went on with his day, and he thought it was weird that his wife wasn't there. So later in the day she comes in walking and he's like, "Where were you?" And she's like, "Oh, I was at my mom." And he's like, "Okay." And I guess they got to talking, and he found out that she didn't even come home that night. She spent the night at her mom's house. And he was in shock because he thought the whole time that she was in bed sleeping with him. And he said another time he was sleeping on his back and that some kind of a force propped him up in a sitting position. And I don't know how my dad's family lived in that house for so long, because it was so haunted. I cannot imagine it, and it was something that happened every day. And another thing that would happen, dishes would break. You would hear if there was someone in the kitchen moving things around. Another thing that my dad had seen, he was in bed one time. He built himself a room in the house, and he said that he was laying down in bed one time and he saw flames coming up from the floor, and he knew it wasn't real. And so he just kept watching it, and the flames, they went up to a couple of feet, I guess for a few minutes, and then it died down. And another time my cousin told me that my aunt had seen a horn come out from the floor. And to me that's I don't know, that's I don't know what kind of ghosts they were dealing with, or if it was even ghosts or something worse in that house. This is where it gets kind of interesting. My uncle had mentioned, another uncle of mine mentioned that he had seen a shadow on the wall, and it looked like a lady with long straight hair, and it would just be very still. And he was in bed, and he said, if you need help, I can help you, because I guess everything was so bad in the house that they wanted whatever was there to be at peace, but that thing never spoke to him. And the same thing happened to my dad. He would mention out loud to whatever was there, if they needed help, he could help it. And the only thing that happened to my dad was that he had a dream that he saw a body face down, like where the house was, like underneath the house. And that was really weird, because it's like, was that just my dad's imagination, or did that dream mean anything, you know? Just kind of weird. And another time, after my dad had moved out from that house, he lived here on this property with my mom. That's when they like got back together. It was in the late 70s. And my dad and my mom went to go visit my dad's family, and my mom and dad pull up to the house, and my dad turns and looks at the front bedroom window, and he thought it was my aunt in the window brushing her hair, because she had long hair, and he saw her through the curtains brushing her hair. I guess they were like lace curtains. So he's like, okay, so he goes and he knocks on the door. There's no answer. He knocks on the window, no answer. So he goes in from the back. He gets inside the house, and nobody's home. So once again, they see someone that has long hair. And I asked my mom the other day if she experienced anything paranormal, and all she said was that one time, I guess she was in the kitchen or dining room in that house, and there was a pot with a plant in it, and I guess it was on the windowsill, and it just fell down for no reason. Like, there was no wind or anything. And but my parents, they just brush things like that off. And so the only thing, like, even before I even knew what the paranormal or like what ghosts were, when I was younger, one time we spent the night in my dad's camper in front of that house, because it's a big family. They didn't have enough beds. So it was my dad, my mom, my sister, and I. We spent the night in the camper, and I remember I woke up in the middle of the night, and I opened the curtains, and I was sitting on the table. And I just remember I was like this, just staring at the house. Like, I would just stare at it, and it would like creep me out, but I just kept staring at it. And but I never experienced anything paranormal. Like, I do have memories playing at the house, but nothing bad. And so the interesting part of this story is that I was so curious, like, as what happened, So my dad had also mentioned that a neighbor that lived on the block behind the house had said one time, maybe they like mentioned that that area was haunted, because there's a train station a few blocks away that has been there like for a really long time. And I guess years before my dad moved there, this lady, there was a bar there, like for all the workers that would get off the train, they would go straight to the bar. Well, there was this lady that supposedly, I guess she got assaulted by two men, and they never found her head because she was decapitated, but they found her body. And I wonder if that's like the woman that's haunting that house. I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows. And I tried to look online, like in old newspaper articles, and I can't find anything about it. So I wonder if it happened like a really, really long time ago. And so I also did some research online, and I found out like that whole area, like that part of San Fernando Valley, there were, natives that used to live here. So, some people speculate that a lot of properties are haunted because of the natives, like this is their land. And another thing that I also found out was that on that property there's a natural stream, and I remember telling my dad that, my dad telling me that there was a stream and water in the back. And I don't remember it as a child, but it wasn't like a lot, like it wasn't a huge stream, it was a small natural spring. And I remember, like, I used to watch all those paranormal shows, and they said usually when you live near water you get like things paranormal happen. So I don't know if that has to do with anything. So anyways, fast forward, my dad, he ended up moving out, and his family moved out, I think, in the late 70s. And so fast forward to now, 2017, I know that property had been sold in the 1980s, and now it's a commercial building. So my best friend, her sister, and my daughter and I, we decided to just, pass by, and I showed them the house, and I told them part of the story of what happened and stuff. And we had one of those ghost apps. I don't necessarily believe in those. I mean, they could just be for fun, entertainment purposes. But it said that there was a ghost inside of the car that we were in, because we were parked right in front of the building where the house used to be. So we were like freaked out. and just that whole area, there's like a bunch of old houses, and it's just creepy, especially at nighttime. And I went on some websites where people talk about houses that they are living in or have lived in that they think are haunted, and they want to know if anyone else has that experience. And so when I typed in that name of the street, it's weird because a few houses down, I found the address online, and someone asked, is, you know, the address, is it haunted? And I thought that was weird. And I think someone told me also that one of the houses there, on that same block, things in that house, you know, they had things flying off the walls, like across the room, and like really scary things like that. So maybe the whole area is haunted. I don't know. I have no idea, but I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to share that story because my friends, you know, we all like to like spook ourselves and stuff. So anyways, so I'll probably be making even more storytime videos about here in this house. So yeah, thanks for watching my video, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye bye.